Hey guys, how's it going? Let me double check my sound here. There we are. Just catching up live here. Just want to make sure. Pretty quiet on the music. Let's check that out. See how that is. A little better. Yeah, okay, so yeah guys, let's talk about what's going on here. Oh, we gotta switch loadouts here. Stream charity. Look at this. Look at this, guys. That's freaking awesome, man. This is crazy. So, it's playing out. It's playing out just like we said. Let's find our one here. Yeah, okay, so we were talking about BTC. Let's see where we were. Yeah, so we were talking about this green guy playing out. Looks like we're shooting right through the 47.3 sort of mark that I had. We're just pushing right out of there. As you can see, these wicks, that's what we're pushing through right now. So we'll see if we do make a sort of pit stop here at the 48, 49K. But yeah, I think we can tell that this is a pretty clear move up now. We can get rid of this guy here. And we can see that, you know, our next sort of target, I think, to be looking at what's going on with price is going to be halvening. So let's Google that. Halving. The halvening. Countdown. Bitcoin halving countdown. Right on NiceHash. Good. I used to use NiceHash a lot, actually, when I was mining. Really good platform. So 64 days. 4 hours. It's assumed 13th of April. So let's mark that down. Let's actually just move one of these guys over. May? April? 13th. Perfect. So, what's gonna happen here? Right? Like, what are we looking at for price action moving into that? Now my projections were inverted head and shoulders, and we pump out, do some form of correction up here. So I think there's a good chance that we see maybe some structuring happen around here, wherever we're at, right? So we could look for a zone to play if you wanted to jump in a trade, if you missed this big move up here, you know, out of this volume zone. Now we got to start pulling in volume from previously. So we can, I like to do, let's look at just the down move and see where volume was at when we were moving down. And you can tell that, like, I was saying this, that once we're sort of passed out of this little bit of volume left here, it's very empty moving up. We can also take a look at what happened on the way up to put that volume into, you know, some sort of correlation. Again, we see a lot of volume here, 49, 48, and then we really don't have much. We have like an opening of volume up past up to about 55 to 57. So that corresponding volume node up there, like I think once we do move up in past this region, so here's kind of a correction, and then we're going to move up straight into this sort of zone. So at this point we might have a corrective move back down, and then continue. It's tough to say, like halvening is around that point. So I'm not 100% sure what we're going to, you know, we're going to look at price as we get closer to that date, and we'll understand better what's kind of happening. But I think still up here is kind of a bit of a correction. So yeah, I think this one, yeah, we could erase that, but I'm just going to leave it because that's my original projection. And I just want to see how close I get on the squiggles, right? Like it's just nice to see, you know, how close do we get when we draw a squiggle, right? We got really close on this one. And so I think we get pretty close on this one up to near this 52 target. So yeah, I think, you know, looking for price to drive up here, but we're looking for something in this zone. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. As you can see, we're pushing up very strong on the 4 hour, down to the 1 hour even. We had like this little entry point here, right? As we hit this zone I was talking about, it pushed up past, it made a correction quickly down to 46.6 from about 47. So 1,000 point correction to another 2,000 point move. We've already hit 48. Wow, guys, this is really moving up fast. I was up right around here looking at the corrections. I had to, of course, eat, get ready, get into the GME chat. Like, look at these chads. Look at these chads holding up the chart. This is insane amount of dumping. Insane candle back up. Like 16 down, 16 up. It literally went back the exact same amount. Of course, we have some people that are in fear when they see dumps like that. But yeah, let's get back on to Bitcoin. We don't need to take a very wide field sort of view. If anything, we want to drill down, and people, you know, could enter something. The thing is, I don't recommend going right down to the 1 minute unless it's just for your entry only. You should be targeting stuff based on like I like to do 20 minute, 2 hour, and 12 hour. Like I like to do those kind of different resolutions just to give me a better picture of what's going on, right? Because you could have seen right here, like here's a little yeah, it's tough how you would have sort of measured this, but yeah, I mean this one was technically higher, so that's technically like the flag it formed. Once it pushes out of here, we could see it potentially correct back onto here and then continue up, or just continue up. But yeah, you could have made a play right off that on a lower time frame, right? Like 3 minute. Yeah, see, tough to work with that. When you're entering on such small time frames, you could really get wrecked. But when you see something like this go down so fast, it usually is a really good opportunity to enter, and it sometimes gives you a second opportunity to enter as well. So that's something to keep your eye on. Is, you know, if you see this sort of structure happen on the bottom, and this bottom doesn't go lower, then this is a higher low, and you could enter on that. Look for these highs again, right? Like you could have entered on this. Even if you entered badly on this candle, you could still have done something like that, and you're still getting 3 R's out of that. That's pretty good, right? So let's take a look at ETH. See, that's not really nice to see on ETH, that we're still not breaking above this. I guess we're not doing that on BTC either. but it's definitely looking a lot stronger. As you can see, we're up here on BTC, so we could see a big sort of comeback or catch-up play for ETH. However, I wouldn't hold my breath because we look at ETH BTC and what's going on. Like, we thought this was going to go back up. It's actually going down, and it's created a new low, a lower low on the 4 hour. So, you know, maybe we correct right back down to here. I'm not too sure. I did have this projection come out down to about here. I mean, let's see, what is that even on the fibs? Yeah, I mean, I had it right kind of in the 618, 665. A lot of people look at that range, so it's considerable, but that's not how I wouldn't enter here based off that, just because this doesn't look strong, right? So like if this was a chart I was just looking at, I would not enter here because it just broke this, so it's not looking strong. Yeah, so I think ETH, we're waiting to see, you know, I'd like to see movement above this sort of zone before I know that this is continuing to be bullish. However, it has reclaimed this sort of very strong down move here, and we are kind of creating a W. So I think, you know, we could continue playing upwards as long as ETH BTC can show a bit of a reversal here. Otherwise, BTC is just going to steal sort of the show. Alongside BTC, though, we see a lot of strength in Solana. So yeah, I mean, if we look at, hey, what's going on with VPVR? It's not giving it to me. I wonder if that's because it's a Pith Oracle. Kind of makes sense. We were looking at this one anyways. Yeah, so yeah, I was saying we kind of push above this 101 mark, up above 104, 105 as well. We should see some strong movement. I think once we sort of bounce off this structure in this area, we're going to get that major move up to the 140s that we're looking for. Yeah, so this is the Jupiter dump. Now we're pumping out. Let's see how Jupe is actually doing. Not really good, so it's just dumping. That's what I was saying. But I was also saying that we have to reclaim a certain, yeah, sort of reclaim that 60-cent region, and we've just dumped since. But I did find out some news on Jupiter that there was like 10.6k wallets that were botted big time. So I think that's why, like, they were saying there's a lot of sell pressure from these bots, which is not really nice to hear. What else were we looking at here? Total 3. Yeah, so we were looking at total 3. I don't know what the fuck that is. Excuse me for my line. That's a horrible line. These straight lines are a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, this white this white projection is what? That's creepy how, like, close to that it's following. Wow. Okay, so we broke out of this sort of trend structure here, and we're going up. Total 3 is altcoins in general, so that's why we're heavily allocated in altcoins on Andy's Crypto Talk here. DYM, we'll just check that one out real quick. We need to do that one on a lower time frame. So yeah, I thought, you know, it's so good. Look at that. So I said, we reclaim above this $6.30 region, and we're just going to shoot up. And I was really close in marking this up at about $8. Oh, what was that on? Okay, that was on a 15. That makes total sense then. So yeah, we didn't quite reach there. We made it pretty close. $8.40. I marked out $8.60, so damn near close. It's funny how these squiggles can really help us out. You could have got a really good entry here. See, so this is the that was it. It was pretty small of a, like my squiggle was much longer in time, but same exact almost points, like right here down to right here. So it played within this range, up there, down there. You could have entered on the break of the range, right up here, boom, and it goes up. Or you could have entered in on like down in the range somewhere. You know, trying to cop the bottom is what I like to do, because then you can put your stops a little bit lower, give yourself a little more room to breathe type thing. But this one I was saying, like, play a fairly tight stop underneath this blue line would have been perfect. Look at this. Whoops, not quite 25 hours. But if you played it like to close, that's like 7 hours into this high range, which you would add a lot of time to kind of make that decision to sell right around there. Right, you would have had two good opportunities to be like, okay, I'm going to just close this position, or you could just still be holding it and you're still up 3 hours, right? Like, that's a good position to be having. That's why a lot of people are playing the narrative of new coins. So now what do we see here? We're seeing sort of this top formation play out here, and then we have a stronger downtrends coming off of that. So sometimes I look at these this way, just because you could play a trend in a trend, right? So we are sort of flagging up here, and I would look for, you know, something like this to play out, and then you can enter somewhere like here. What the heck happened there? You could enter somewhere like here, or wait for this trend break and enter somewhere like there, right? So a couple things you can do. This could continue falling down and then recorrect, just to sort of retest this sort of zone down here. Alright, so yeah, I think we're gonna move on to a little bit more degen stuff. GME on Poloniex. I thought this was really interesting to take a look at. Let me actually spam. I never even spammed this out. Oh my god. Like, how far are we into this? And I'm just starting this. There we go. Oh, did we even look at Solana? Yeah, we looked at Solana. Yeah, we looked at Solana. So yeah, I think up for Solana. Oh, come on now. Okay, thought I'd spam that out there real quick. And let me just get it on my X profile. Okay. Whale just capitulated at support. Loaded more GME on the dip. Still strong community, strongest community by far. I'll show you guys that. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. Slushy. We get so much support from such impressive sized accounts. Yeah, it's yeah, this Apple Vision Pro, like, I mean, this is probably some of the most significant tech that we're gonna have invented in the past little while here. This is absolutely game changing, and app developers are going to have to use AI to make some of these apps that they're going to make, because it's going to be so advanced. It's going to be crazy. Total game changer. Anyways, I just want to see that, show you guys that, because I was just looking at it real quick. So GME, let's take a look at GameStop and see what's going on here, guys. What are we looking at? What's happening next? Where can we go? And you know, where have we come from, so to speak? Where have we come from? Where are we going? Cotton Eye Joe. So, oops, I'm touching things. So this is what we're looking at on a daily chart. Let me just turn off all that stuff for you guys for a sec. So this is what the chart's looking like for the dailies, right? Big move up. I don't even think we can measure it properly. You know, 15,000% up. And then about 75% correction. Okay, and then $380% move up almost to only 63% correction, right? So something to consider. One thing I would look at here is I normally look at things like Fibonacci's just to see what's going on. I do have another fib out there as well, but that one's an extension. So let me just see. Can I just turn that one off? I could just redraw that one. Forget that one. So let's see what's going on here. Right, so saying that this was our low, and that's our high. We literally bounced off the 768. We're making our way back to the 0.618 retracement. That's normally kind of our golden zone, is 618 to 6, so 62 to 65% correction, or 62 to 68 on the fibs for a correction. Because yeah, I mean, that's right now we're sitting at 57% correction. So I mean, this is typical stuff, right? Our last big correction from this top zone was 75%, right? And a lot of the time was spent at about 60 to 50% correct, right? Like this main candle body was between 50 and 66% correction. So this is typical of a bottoming formation. Yeah, like I think because we've seen such a strong drive down from the top, the same thing happens on the upside now. So let's drop her down 4 hour and see kind of what we're looking at. Because as you drop it down on the time frame, it looks even more bullish, right? Like, you know, low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, because we just made it there, higher high, higher low in this region. We're going to have something of a higher low within this region, and then up from there. You know, I did have some sort of support resistance lines here marked out that I'm going to actually get rid of, because they're not going to matter so much moving forward. We're going to have different support and resistance moving forward. Yeah, so I mean, big selling candle here. But if we drop it down, we see a big selling, big buying, big selling, right? So it's pretty balanced out. What we can see is that this is bringing a lot of volume back in. So just in the past, you know, 6 hours we had 5 million volume, whereas in the past 24 hours we only had 8.3 million volume on radium, right? This is just radium, guys. So let's check out CoinMarketCap. Let's check that out. Yeah, and we can see, like, we're not down that big on the volume, because we're actually still at 25 mil on the day in volume, and it's only down about 15%. So the volume's actually not down as much as the price, meaning price is probably going to rebalance with the volume. Yeah, we're hoping to get this fixed. I think the right things have been sent out to get that fixed, but it's just not fixed yet. So yeah, as we can see there, 8 mil on Radium, but there's a lot of other pools out there. Like BitTrue did 2.5 million. Interesting. I want to check BitTrue's price, because that's doing a significant amount of volume, I'd say. 6293, 6282. Yeah, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. Yeah. But yeah, like we had Poloniex. This is what's interesting to me, is that the price is actually significantly higher here. That means that, like, the price didn't get dumped on here because it's an exchange and they have lower float, etc., etc. But someone was willing to buy at that point on exchange. So it's very interesting sort of dynamic playing out there. And the other one we saw this on was Coinex. But that one's looking 633. Yeah, it's the exact same as on DEX. So yeah, I think, you know, it's tough to do TA perfectly on stuff like this. As you can see, I have so many of these little lines marked out and things to mark out where I think we can, you know, stop, or where I think we bounce, or where I think we reject. Again, you know, like these top side ones, rejection, breakthrough, but then rejection off this sort of this high zone, which was actually this low zone, right? Like if we pull this through, we can see a lot of wicks, touch, down through, up, touch, wicks, back, touch, rejection, almost touch, and rejection. Right, so like there are some people that are playing the TA. It could be that whale was playing the TA and is waiting for a good momentum carrying up again. And we can see that stuff is actually resetting in things like the stochastic RSI. Like we've seen a rejection here and a movement up, and that's when we played that movement up. But we can see that the MACD, it didn't actually make it above 0, so it's still actually on a sell pressure. As far as what I'm seeing here. However, we did have a breakout of RSI from its downtrending structure. I mean, you could look at it like this, right? You could look at it like this. It just depends on how you look at it. This was a tight structure. This is a looser structure. I think that's kind of how we're playing it out right now, is that it broke out past it and it just danced on it, and now it's dancing on it again. We don't really, as you can see, we don't poke past down this on the hourly too far. So like this is technically, on indicators like the RSI, this is a bottom already. This is a V-shaped bottom already, meaning that it's just going to reverse up straight, potentially. It could take a minute and make a W here and then go straight up. So it doesn't have to be a V. It could be like these ones. See these? They look like an M in a W. It could be something like that as well. But yeah, that's why TA doesn't work out really perfectly on these types of tokens, because they're not old enough to give you enough price action. And the thing about it is that there's some, like we seen here, top whales that could send price beyond what we believe is possible at that moment. And it's just for that moment is the thing, right? So don't get caught up in the moment. That's what I think a lot of the voice chat was touting. And if we go in here, guys, like it's super bullish looking still. Just gonna spam a couple more in here. But it's super bullish. There's 160 in the voice chat right now. You know, people are rating, people are connecting and figuring out how can they get involved to make a difference in this project. It is truly the people's coin, and I'm seeing that day in, day out. The people come together and make this happen. And then when we see stuff like when the whales get involved in a, like this is a good example, right? We have a push up, a push down, and then a low, a higher low, and then we move. So like they know what they're doing with stuff like this, right? We see the exact same sort of price action here, where it came straight down, buried itself, and then broke out. But then a little bit more correction, right? Like we had a little bit more correction. This time it just so happened that maybe, you know, maybe this took a little bit longer to play out. This sort of section took a little bit longer to play out because there's more people involved. It's tough to say why that would happen. But the price action looks almost identical, right, guys? Like up, down, correct, up. So if we follow that up, down, correct, I think that's kind of what we're looking at, right? So up, down, correct. Let's see how long. Let's just do this one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that. It's so goddamn similar, man. It's so damn similar. Right? It's just that the lows and the highs and things got created differently. So I think now what we kind of look for, let's just going to leave that right there on the chart. Look at that. It's just beautiful. There's that 100 mil. We just about tagged it. I think we were 99.9 million is what it shows on Dex Screener. Yeah, because like we tagged that. Someone had limits up there for sure. And that's just like someone had limits down here probably for sure. I think as long as we're holding above this 45-ish, could just move this up. I think as long as we hold above this, that we're quite strong, actually. You know, I think this is really where we want to see a nice bounce. Kind of like this middle happened. And we saw from the lows a bounce to 165%. So I think if this is the low, holy cow, 165% would be way up here. I don't think we're not going to get that strong of a bounce because there's a chance we do. We could just go straight up from here. But, you know, if we do this sort of interim weight, then it'd be usually about halfway up. So maybe 100% move. I think that could be likely. But there's also this line that I was talking about right here. So 80% move maybe. Up to these highs. I really think we pushed past those. Yeah, into the 100% probably. Yeah. Yeah, probably about 90% move on the next one. Then again, we could see a move up, a little bit of work here, and then continue. Or a move up, and then a little bit back down, and then up. And then we continue, right? Just like we saw here, right? So we went up, and then we kind of squiggled, and then we went up. So I tried to do this by eye. That's kind of what we did last time. So both of those look possible. Actually, let's get rid of that because I just don't like squiggles like that on my chart right now. So yeah, just to look at the bigger picture, right? Like now we have to redraw. So this was the low here, so that's why we had that up there. But now we have to redraw. So now we have another sort of resistance point That's going to be up above here. So that's something to consider as well, right? We could see this do something like this, right? That's also possible. But what I'm more looking at is I think that we push past this just because of the strength of this community, and then we're going to correct here and go up. I think that's more likely, right? Because then we got the low, lower low, higher low. So we want to see that for the inverted head and shoulders type pattern to play out, because we know that now we had this cup and handle. That's no longer a thing, right? We broke with a cup and handle. There is a line here that it can't break, and we broke that. But you got to remember that just because the cup and handle didn't play out doesn't mean that this chart's busted now. Like, people shouldn't be tripping about this, because it's all probabilities. When it comes to charting, it's all probabilities. Like, just like this bull flag has a certain probability that it's going to break out upwards. Does that mean that it has to? No, it could continue on downwards, right? And this could play into a bigger structure, right? Like, this could be a bigger structure yet. So let's just take that off for a sec so we can see. This could be a bigger structure yet. Here's a 3-day chart. Where's the correction on a 3-day chart? Where's your correction on 63,000%? Right? So 3-day chart, we're only down 55%. This only has to go up. Come on. It only has to go up 20% to close the 3-day on a green. Right? When in doubt, zoom out. What are we holding here? A trend. We're holding this trend. This upward trend. We're also holding this. Right? We're in an upward channel on a 3-day. So just always, when in doubt, zoom out, guys. This can really do numbers. This stuff just began. If you look at this, just the way this structures, and then compare it to like the 1 hourly, and go back and look at what happened to this in the beginning. Right? Like, you could pretend this is your 1-day, 3-day, right? I mean, it doesn't look identical, but you make a couple corrections and then you're moving back up. Right? And then you have stuff like this where you really swing. Right? Where you really swing. And what did that turn into? Right? I remember this day. This is all we had. Right? Some of y'all OGs were in this with me. Right? Might have entered in this. Right? And then what happened? It went, you watched your bag. If you entered in this, you watched your bag go up 20 times. Then what happened? Your bag went down 90%. 87%. Right? You were still up 150%. Okay, guys? People just don't look at the bigger picture. Right? That's the one thing I would say, is people don't look at the bigger picture. So, you could have entered here, up at the top. Your bag would have went down 90%. And you would have waited, what is this, 1 day? Yeah, one day. And the next day after that, on this run up, say you entered at the Pico top, right? You were this top buy here. You're still up 140%. Did you miss out on gains? Sure, yeah, whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you're still up, bro. You could have went down 42%. Correction. You would have still been up 40%. Right? Like, you're still up in the money, guys. You enter this Pico top. Still up 140%. I mean, it's like, you just got to look at this stuff, guys. You're up 140%. You watch your bag correct. 75%. Which Pico top did you enter? Right here, right? At this point, you're down a little bit. Down 40%. But if you held, from down 40%, you would have been then up 364%. Right? From your original entry, right here, you would have been up 185%. 3x. So, like, that's the one thing to consider here, guys. That's the one thing to consider. If you're buying this bottom, right? If you're buying this anywhere in this sort of bottom range, let's take the 50% sort of range of it, you'd have made 180%. Right? So I think the same sort of thing is going to apply here. That anywhere sort of in this, in the halfway, let's say right around here, halfway range, you're, like, the next move up, where do I have it targeted? This is my first target here, 1.5 cents, so 0.1595, 120%. The next, 212%. And what did I get these from? I used the trend-based fib extension. Now I use this low because this is the low technically, but you could also use this low because that's kind of like the swing low, and you could also use this low because that's kind of like the most nearest move swing low. But I like using the true bottom to the true top, just a little bit under there, and mark this bottom because I think, like, I keep redrawing this because I think it's the bottom. I think it's the bottom. I don't know what one's the bottom. Actually, which one did I draw this off? I think I dropped it. Yeah, that's the one. So actually, I chose this one because it was more recent, right? So we had a low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? So this is kind of where we started the trend, so that's why I started my fib retrace, fib extension from this, because we're extending this trend, right? This, I think, was kind of part of that last trend. This is the new trend, so that's at least where I took my assumptions from. It's nothing, none of this is perfect. Please don't take any of this as perfection. None of this is financial advice. I'm just showing you what I'm looking at, and that's all. That's all that matters to me. And that's all that you should take it as. Don't take it as anything more. So anyways, fib extension, right? You mark the low, the high, the higher low, technically, right? And then we see where's this trend going to extend to. And this is the one. So this is the one. This is basically where it should extend to. This is the next target. So let's actually first target, and we're gonna make it green. Okay, so first target there. I think I'll move that arrow up, because once we hit this first target, I think we push, just because of the strength that we're gonna have pushing past 100 mil. And then I also have this, I guess this is where it really will be. This first green one recovers, it moves up to this green one. This green one recovers, we move up to this green one. Right, solid, dotted. Anyways, what are these magnets? Look at this. Look at this. Now, trend-based fib extensions can go to the 4236 or 3618. This is not unheard of, but it's less likely. Usually, whoops, I moved it a little bit. Usually we move between the 1 and the 1.618. So this is kind of the box. This purple box is kind of the range that we're looking at targeting. Somewhere in here, I think the price action will turn around or do a bit of a correction of some sort, and then either continue or reject and then hang out. I think it hangs out above 100 mil for a while it creates something like of that proportion, and then we go out. But this could also happen quickly, right? This down move doesn't have to take a month. It could take a couple days. So that's kind of what I look at where we're going. I'm just going to leave purple box because this is where a lot of people's price targets actually end up, is 5 cents. Funny enough, we've been hearing 5 cents in the chat a lot. So there's something to note there. Whether they know something or not, I don't know. What just happened there? Oh, okay. We just moved it. So yeah, like we could take this back and see how it played out in the past as well. So I think this was the trend to here. Down to there. And so yeah, like this was the box zone. I had it marked out here. Yeah, because I moved the 1618. I remember that now. I did move the 1618, but this was the 1 mark, I believe, that I had. It's something like that, yeah. So the 1.0 mark that I had, we hit it, we tagged it, and we went into the box zone up to that 100 mil because of the psychological zone. I think that's why we're correcting, right? Like I think a big portion of the reason that this is correcting as it is because of the psychological range with 100 mil, right? It's just a rounded number. What happened? We correct down to 50 mil, right? Like this was the 50 mil zone. And I actually had this marked up above here, so it was kind of like once we push past this zone, we go. And we went. But now again, psychological resistances played in of 100 mil. I think people had limit orders, and that's it, right? So yeah, I mean, it's like super bullish still on GME. Anyways, guys, I think I blabbered long enough here. 50 minutes, yeah. Yeah, enough blabbering. Yeah, I think GME has a lot of movement to happen here. We're seeing the stochastic on the 1 hour turn around. What happened last time that turned around? 3 green candles. What happened previously? 3 green candles. What happened previously to that? Multiple green candles. Previously to that? Yeah. 3 green candles almost. 3 green candles? 3 green candles. So I think 3 green candles. Like, I mean, that's what it looks like. Typical. Right here we had a pretty significant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candles. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green candles. So, like, yeah, I mean, we could get a lot of green candles, but we could just get a few. As you can see here, it could stay down here for a little while. As we saw in this correction, what happened? Like, after we dumped down, which is really interesting that we stayed so high on the stochastic while we dumped down. I think that's bullish. MACD, we want to see that turn around as well. We can take a look at the 15 just to see. Look at that. That's turning around right now. Right? That's about to flip. Once we flip 40 usually, it tends to go up. Like you can flip 40 and go up quite a bit on the RSI. And yeah, what we see is generally we see that price bottoms in capitulation events. Look at this 15-minute candle. 1.5 million followed by 800K. That's our biggest candle, our biggest volume bar we've had yet. Let's take a look at the VPVR and the MA. I've been keeping this 100 MA in just because it's been quite telling, and every once in a while I do switch it to the 50. And then I can check out the 4-hour 50, right? And we did kind of bounce off this 4-hour 50 and it's curling down, so it doesn't look great. But that could be a resting point where it just goes flat down a little and then continues on up. Just like we seen happen with like the 1 hour, right? The 1 hour, this is going to be a totally different story though. We would have to go to the 100 for the 1 hour. That'll give us a more telling story. That it goes kind of flat, down a bit, and then up again. So we could be getting a flat moment, down a bit, and then up again. But these are very slow. Like, by the time price is way up here, this will just start curling back up, right? Like, look at what's happening here. Price rockets through, and by the time it's at the top, it's just starting to turn around when it's already halfway up. So this is like long-term stuff, right? That's why I look more at like shorter term things like MACD, things like these stochastic RSI, RSI. See where that's pushing. These are all just indicators though. The most important thing is price action. So what do we see here? That you know, price action got pushed and forced down by a whale and then came back up in massive strength based off community sentiment. So these things are not things that you can exactly chart out with indicators. This is just pure price action. Right? What do we have coming up on the way up that's going to stop us? And we look at this just like we were looking at Bitcoin. Look at the VPPER on the down move and see where is the volume. So resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, and then what? We're kind of free. A couple resistance points, sure. But I think once we beat this bigger volume node, where there's a lot more resistance, we're going to have an easier time. It's like a mountain, right, guys? We're climbing the mountain. Once we get up, it's easier to go down the mountain, right? So that's kind of what we'll see, I believe, with price, is like it'll be tougher to get up there. But once we get past there, it'll be much easier. So yeah, I think let's get rid of this one. And I think something like that. Because again, this one, like, it's not quite going to make the 100 again. And it's going to get sold off. But more than likely, we should see a strong support here. And then just rocket past 100. Because once the sentiment has changed on the up moves is when the FOMO begins. People really FOMO into stuff like this, guys. Like, when they see, oh my god, that coin went down to like 40 mil from 100 mil. Holy crap, it's over. And then, what do they see 6 to 12 hours later? Oh my god, that coin that got dumped down to 40 mil is already recovering, 60, 70 mil? Oh my god, I better get in before it goes past 100. At least I can make something from here to 100. Maybe it'll push past 100 this time. I'll make it 2x to 140. This is the type of psychology that's probably playing in people's minds, right? So yeah, I mean, I think once we push past wherever that would be in a market cap, if we look at this more from the entire structure here, we'll see that there's a lot of volume down here and less volume up here. So that's kind of also what I'm talking about, is once we really push out of this, I think it's 40 to about 55, maybe even 60-ish. So 40 to 60 mil volume area, then it's going to be very easy to push from 60 back to like near the 100 and past. So anyways, guys, yeah, like I said earlier, I'm rambling enough. Things like these won't work so well in the 5 minute, just so you know. I've rambled enough, and I hope you guys got something out of this. Like, comment, subscribe, and definitely follow the big guys right now. Like I'm saying, I think we got some good moves up from both BTC, Solana, waiting to happen here. So yeah, guys, we'll catch you in the next one.